space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its mission, to explore strange new worlds, to discover new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Aye, Captain, I'm looking forward to taking leave on Nova Atar. The museum there is supposed to be quite excellent. Lots of antique and one-of-a-kind machinery.
Commander, are you certain it's not the Kazakhstanian cognac you're looking forward to?
Do they make that there, laddie? I don't know.
Why, Mr. Scott, I'm surprised at you, not knowing the location of a famous distillery.
We invented that brandy, you know.
Right.
Of course you did.
No, really. We did.
No one would ever doubt you, Ensign, however...
Sorry to interrupt, Captain, but we have an emergency call from the science vessel Demeter. She's in orbit around Balkos 3.
On screen.
Captain Kirk, good to see you're in the area.
You have an emergency, Commander Gelman?
Well, I'm not sure, actually. Maybe more of a case of better safe than sorry. We're orbiting Balkos 3 to study the Balkosi, a race of people just entering their own Stone Age. We've only been here 2 days. Already, we've found some unusual data. But just a few minutes ago, during the deep geologic probing phase, we were suddenly scanned.
Scanned? I thought the Balkosi were just developing.
They are, Captain. And there haven't been any indications of old civilizations until now. The scan was also of extreme power. Following that, we detected a power source coming online. We'll send the coordinates along with all the other information we've gathered. I was a little concerned that we triggered an old defense mechanism. With the amount of information it pulled in its scan, we'd be an easy target. I've moved the Demeter to a higher orbit on the far side of the planet.
Quite reasonable, Commander. We're on our way.
Thank you, Captain.
Kirk out.
Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Judgement Rites. Hopefully everything goes smoothly this time. I think I got all the kinks worked out. In any case, let us begin as we always do by consulting our trusty handy-dandy computer. So,
Nova Atar, a Federation system whose third planet, Nova Atar 3, is the home of the Smithsonian Annex for this sector of the galaxy. Nova Atar is renowned for its rich collection of artifacts.
Smithsonian Annex.
Smithsonian Annex. Location, Nova Atar. A large museum annex with exhibits ranging from some of the earliest technology in the galaxy to the most recent declassified recoveries of salvaged Klingon wreckage. The museum administration bans equipment from being brought into the museum. A force field also protects the museum from an intruding transporter beam.
Interesting. Okay, so let's look at that cockpit.
Kazakhstanian cognac. Liquor manufactured under the ideal conditions on the planet Nova Atar that allow for growing of a variety of grapes for fine brandies. A specialty on Nova Atar is the double fermentation and blending that creates cognac.
Okay, let's look up the Demeter then.
USS Demeter, a Federation science vessel named after the Greek goddess of agriculture. It is currently under the command of Commander John Gelman and is assigned to scientific research at Balkos 3.
Commander Gelman?
John Gelman, Starfleet rank Commander, current assignment Acting Captain of the USS Demeter science vessel, currently assigned to research at Balkos 3.
Alright, and Balkos 3.
Balkos 3, a planet inhabited by a humanoid race just entering the Stone Age. The Federation science vessel Demeter is currently conducting studies of the planet.
Alright, they didn't actually give us that much to research in our computers, so Mr. Spock, any
I
thoughts?
advise referring to the star map and setting a course for Balkus 3, Captain.
Of course. Uhura?
No communications from the planet, sir. Commander Gelman wishes us good luck.
Very well. Mr. Sulu, plot a course.
Approaching Balkus 3, Captain.
Sensor readings, Mr. Spock. Anything new?
I have the coordinates for the power source the Demeter detected.
No communications from the planet, sir. Commander Gelman wishes us good luck.
Alright, standard orbit, Mr. Sulu.
Entering standard orbit.
Last chance, Mr.
I
Spock.
have the coordinates for the power source the Demeter detected.
No communications from the planet, sir.
Okay, so they got nothing, so I guess there's nothing else to do but to beam down.
Spock, come with me. Scotty, you have the con, Lieutenant. Ask Dr. McCoy to meet us in the transporter room.
Yes, Captain?
What the devil was that? An attack?
While I cannot guarantee a lack of physical change, Doctor, we seem to be unharmed. I therefore conclude we have been scanned.
Captain, are you all right? Sensors detected a burst of power followed by some sort of powerful transmission.
According to Spock, we're in perfect health, Scotty.
According to Spock?
Never mind, Mr. Scott. Can you track the transmission to its destination?
I'll give it a try, Captain, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before.
It never is, Mr. Scott. It never is. Kirk out.
I guess you were right, Spock. And here I thought we were dead for a second.
Doctor, that would have made conversation quite difficult.
I was making a joke, Spock.
Were you, Doctor?
Gentlemen, I believe we have some business at hand.
I believe we do too. Mr. McCoy, first let's take medical tricorder readings to make sure we truly indeed are alright.
Readings are slightly elevated. You seem healthy. I wonder why it's doing that. Readings are slightly elevated. You seem healthy. I wonder why it's doing that. Funny, I don't feel sick. Probably just another problem with the machine.
Okay, so readings are slightly elevated, but we don't know why. Let's look around.
A small stone, 8-pointed star suspended from the ceiling. A large white segmented tube hangs overhead. Extremely smooth rock walls, dome construction. Spartan look suggesting function over form. Extremely
I see.
This seems pointless.
Alright, so
A large machine with lights cycling on its front side.
I like how the lines of the force field actually trip your interactable, but you can't actually...
A series of readout displays.
You can't actually interact with it.
An impressive-looking machine of alien manufacture. A relatively small machine full of electronics with a glass port on the front. A large white segmented tube hangs overhead. Several cables snake out from the wall to a gathering point in the ceiling. A large 8-pointed blue and white star has been inlaid in the stone floor.
Alright. Thoughts, everyone?
You know, I've got the feeling this is bigger than it looks, and I don't mean just more space beyond this door.
Fascinating, Captain. I've never seen machinery of this type before.
This place looks like Spock's dream world, doesn't it, Jim?
In what way, Bones?
No decorations, no life, nothing but machinery. Not even a picture of his mother on the wall.
A picture of my mother here would be most surprising. However, if you are suggesting that construction was performed in an efficient manner, I would agree with your most logical conclusion.
Remind me to check my blood for green tinges when we get back to the ship, Jim.
There is information to be obtained here, Captain.
While alien in design, fairly obviously the control panel to the door. While this is obviously an alien structure, you're fairly certain this is a door.
I don't know. Might not be a door. Could be a trap.
This star is made from native minerals and shows the propensity to emit low-level light. It shows a high degree of machining, Captain. Nothing unusual about that object, Captain. Nothing unusual about that object, Captain.
Can we not scan the machine?
It is an unknown piece of equipment inside an energy field. The energy field around this scanning device prevents a detailed examination. I cannot get an accurate reading, Captain, due to a force field. However, it appears to be a transmitter. The mineral compounds in the star are not native to the surrounding regions, which indicates that it has been imported.
How can you be sure, Spock?
It is extremely similar to synthetic corn blue sapphire.
Oh.
Gas plasma displays, Captain. Readings show that they have been activated recently. Readings indicate an organic compound is being pumped through that piping, Captain. Perhaps Dr. McCoy can elaborate. Readings indicate that the red cables are power conduits. The green and blue are some sort of optical communications cables.
A door constructed with an unknown alloy. Circuitry controlling the door.
Alright, so I think that's everything. Let's get McCoy to scan.
We got hit with a power surge. It's interfering with sensors and we might have some trouble locking onto you.
Well, if we intend on taking our shore leave with the rest of the crew, we'd better find out what's causing that power surge.
Let's take McCoy's tricorder and scan this tube.
There is an organic compound being pumped through those pipes, Jim. The readings I'm getting indicate some bacteria with another organic agent in it.
What if there was a rupture, Bones?
I couldn't tell you what sort of effects it might have on us if we were exposed to large quantities. I would need the lab on the Enterprise to tell you that.
Alright, Mr. Spock, what about those gas plasma displays? Oh, you're just going to scan them again?
Gas plasma display.
Alright, what about the door panel? I think we've scanned everything in here that we can.
Quite simple, considering the appearance of the other machinery here. All that was needed was a power interrupt. The doors will only stay closed while power is on. Interesting.
Alright, let's move on then. So we came out of door number 2. Let's have a look-see around.
Several cables wind their way up to the ceiling. A large cone hangs overhead. Colored cables run in and out of it. A large white segmented tube hangs overhead. A view screen that looks very similar to the one on the Enterprise. This seems pointless. The soft glow of an energy field surrounds what looks to be a large computer console and display.
Hey, what about this guy?
This seems pointless.
Can't look at him. Alright.
This seems pointless.
What about this stuff in the foreground? Not important.
Spock is feeling invigorated by these surroundings. Seeing nothing but machines, McCoy is feeling somewhat out of place. The captain feels a little uneasy for some reason. A red lens that reminds you of the red alert alarm.
I guess some things are almost universal.
Alright, looks like we got 3 red alert lenses.
Several cables wind their way up to the ceiling. An automatic door with its associated control panel. The control panel for the door.
Alright, I think... Oh, We got this guy.
A circular pattern with 3 equilateral triangles thrusting out of it.
Fascinating.
What is Spock?
An interesting pattern. If you notice, the floor design mimics the computer pedestal, which in turn mimics the cone above it.
How does a circle and triangles mimic a cone?
If the cone is cut horizontally along the base, and then the upper portion divided into 3 wedges, the view from above would look similar to the pattern on the floor.
And?
I have noted that a pattern grouping also existed in the first room we were in.
Of what, Mr. Spock?
Stars, sir. There was one on the floor, the ceiling, and the large sensory device. Each had an 8-sided star as part of its design.
Analysis.
The reasoning behind this is unknown to me at this point. I will alert you to any future findings, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
Alright, McCoy, I assume this is the same tube as before?
There is an organic...
What if there was...
I couldn't tell you what's...
Yep, okay. So, Mr. Spock, if you could try to...
The energy field is blocking any tricorder readings of the machinery inside.
Okay. About the cone.
Captain, this appears to be a distributive optic node.
If you say so, Mr. Spock.
A large view screen, Captain. No power is being fed to it at this time.
About the floor.
Nothing unusual about that object, Captain.
Is that the floor or the energy field?
Nothing.
Okay. Anything interesting about those plaques?
Nothing.
About the door.
A door constructed with an unusual alloy.
Alright. Let's start. Well, first, let's get some
I was
thoughts.
examining that computer, Captain. Very interesting. The computer has an exceedingly large display screen. There are several conclusions.
What conclusions, Spock?
1, the individuals for whom this equipment was built have substandard vision. 2, the users have quite long arms or manipulative extremities and have to work a considerable distance away from the console and screen. 3, the large screen and lack of anything else in the room could mean it was expected that more than one individual would be viewing the display.
Machines. Machines everywhere, and not a body to fix.
Not exactly festive around here, is it?
Alright, let's start exploring these rooms one by one. See what's behind door number 1.
A 3-dimensional version of the X's from the floor hang from the ceiling. This seems pointless. This seems pointless. This seems pointless.
Really, I can't.
A pulsing energy field shields this bulky machine.
That's so silly that they make the this interactive, but then they don't make it do anything.
A 3-dimensional version of the X's from the floor hang from the ceiling. It took considerable power to form this room. A series of expanding X's laying one atop the other is etched into the floor. A recharging station.
Yeah, I guess we can't do anything with that.
Dr. McCoy feels quite out of place here. There's something about this whole place that troubles the captain. Spock ponders the design of the machines.
An interesting place, Captain. There seems to be a reason for it beyond the obvious.
I just keep asking myself, who's behind all this?
I have to get the name of the interior decorator.
Alright, tricorder readings, Mr. Spock.
This device transforms its internal energy into useful quantities for other portable devices. The transfer takes place at the small outlet junction located near the center of the unit.
So what is that in English, you pointed-eared confusion factory?
In English, it remains exactly as I said. However, for those unskilled in the language, this is a battery charger.
For once, why can't you just come up with a simple explanation first?
It's not always necessary, Doctor. You are not always around.
What is it with you two? You're like children. I'm getting tired of it. Why am I snapping at you?
Ooh, Spock laying down those sick burns.
Nothing unusual.
Stop scanning the force field.
Captain, with the energy shield up, I will not be able to get valid tricorder readings. However, the device appears to be a power generator.
Interesting. What about the floor?
Nothing unusual about that object, Captain.
Dealing.
Readings indicate that this is connected to a rather sophisticated projection system. I cannot get more detailed data. An energy field is interfering with the tricorder.
I think that's all we can do here, so let's move on to the next room. Let's see. From my notes from last time, this is room... No. This is room 5, yeah. Okay.
Bones, Spock. This place is making me uncomfortable. Let's make this quick.
I hate this place, Jim. Too many machines.
Every room appears to have a central theme. Whoever built this complex has a very compartmentalized mind.
This room shares the basic construction design of all the other rooms.
Okay, nothing's unique about that panel, apparently.
A small starburst pattern adorns the ceiling. It is a replica of the one on the floor.
Can't look at the yellow card either.
A large starburst pattern adorns the floor. It is a replica of the one on the ceiling. A bin containing very small discs. A bin containing small badges. The device is rhythmically dropping rectangular cards into its storage bin. This room shares...
Can't look at that.
The device is...
Looked at that already.
A large computer performing some unknown task. Essentially an on-off control device. This cube contains a significant amount of circuitry. An optical bridge cable. A component interface card. A small device for display controls. Another unknown alien machine.
Alright, tricorder readings, Mr. Spock.
There are still several batteries in the bin, Captain.
Is that what those are?
Captain, the tricorder readings indicate there are small devices in that container. The devices are related in some way to energy fields. It would take a closer examination to be certain. This unit is manufacturing miniature broadcast circuitry. An optically controlled switch meant to be used by remote operation. It may be useful with other devices in the complex. This machine seems to be controlling the manufacturing units. Readings indicate advanced optical computer circuitry is contained within that box. It may be useful. Optical interface cables. These could be used to connect myriad devices. This is an interface card for a computer display. The tricorder shows this to be a touch-sensitive display module.
A high-pressure device for joining two objects.
Alright, let's pick everything up.
Spock, what do you make of the screen?
This is a computer display module, Captain.
Spock, what kind of interface is this?
A bridge unit for use between function control and display circuitry, Captain. It could be helpful to have.
Spock, what do you make of these?
This appears to be a set of interface cables.
Spock, run around the room and pick everything up for me.
Spock, any idea what this box is?
The cube contains control circuitry. I suggest we keep it.
Spock, is that a switch?
Yes, a fairly simple switching device, Captain. Captain, these items appear to be configured to produce a small energy field of some sort. They do not appear to be powered at this time.
Why don't you see what you can do with them, Spock?
That would seem to be a logical thing to do. I will take enough for all of us.
Ah! Origin, why?
The bin contains small plastic discs, Captain. The plastic is essentially inert in this form. However, if placed under pressure, it will become a superconductor capable of storing significant energy compared to its size. It will break down over time. That is why it is commonly stored in this state.
Probably should hang on to a few, don't you think?
A logical choice.
Alright, now that we've cleaned up all the litter, look at what we got.
A small gray badge. A small disc of plastic. An interface cable. A small device for display controls. This cube contains a significant amount of circuitry. Essentially an on-off control device. A bridge unit for use between function control and display circuitry.
And since it said the unit becomes a battery under high power, and we have a high-pressure device nearby, we may as well combine the two.
This is a very specialized pressure device, Captain. These batteries go into this side of the device to be combined under pressure with the item in the other hopper.
So let us do that then.
The badges have been placed into the hopper, Captain.
Alright then, Mr. Spock, work your magic.
Since we know this is a high-pressure device, it would be logical to either use it or leave it alone.
What is that smell?
There is a chemical change due to the pressure. That is simply a small amount of outgassing by the plastic conductor. Captain, the badges and batteries are now joined.
Excellent.
Readings here are no.
Mr. Spock, let's go back and use that charging station that we found earlier. Here we go.
The badges change color.
I believe the units are now fully operational.
Hopefully these badges will help us with some of these force fields. We should each keep one of them with us while we're here.
It took considerable. A small, thick card. It has an indicator showing that it has been charged recently.
Alright. Well, we can at least use this computer.
This is a computer control panel, Captain. It appears to have some control over other parts of the compound.
Let's leave that for later, though, and explore the rest of the compound.
There is an organic compound.
What if there...
Okay, I was hoping that would, force fields being down would reduce the interference. Let's go back to our starting room and see if we can scan anything in there. Looks like the force fields are down.
It is a powerful transmitter, unlike anything in Starfleet records. It appears to be a detection device. Judging by the complexity of its circuitry, I would gather that it is quite sensitive. It is a scanner with both long-range and detailed capabilities.
Alright, Mr. Spock, take a closer look.
I am fairly certain it is a transmitter of some type, Captain. While the construction and circuitry are totally unfamiliar to me, I do notice a lack of signal focusing or the ability to go omnidirectional or any other similar change. However, the system is slaved to track to a general sector of the galaxy. Information is passed following a random signal pattern with the lead pulse carrying the coding keys.
English, Spock, please.
That was English, Captain. To rephrase, the signal is permanently directed to one area of the galaxy, an area I believe the Federation has yet to explore. The signal beam is not tight enough to fix an exact planet or even a specific system. These settings cannot be changed.
Then this is a sort of monitoring system only?
Quite possibly. Furthermore, the signal frequency is 0.00052 angstroms, and the transmissions are coded. Captain, unless someone was looking for this signal in particular, chances are it would be dismissed as background radiation, cosmic rays.
You learned all that by just playing with the console on a machine you've never seen before?
I am the science officer, Doctor, and a Vulcan.
So basically, it seems like this is some sort of research facility, and they send data back. It's tight. It's a tight enough beam that it reduces the likelihood of interception, but wide enough that if it were intercepted, you couldn't trace it back to any particular planet. Interesting. So these guys obviously value their secrecy. Not to mention the other security settings like the coding and
a
the
sensor device,
frequency.
Quite sensitive. This system detected the geological scan from the Demeter. Chances are good that it had already detected the Demeter's presence.
Then why not scan the Demeter immediately?
That would have certainly alerted the ship to the presence of this equipment. Whatever or whoever controls this waited until its detection had already occurred. As I assumed earlier, this is a scanning device. The architecture is quite interesting and quite elegant. Captain, whoever constructed this is probably more technologically advanced than we are.
And taller. Look at how high the console is.
Good observation, Bones.
Thank you, Jim.
But not necessarily correct. It is logical to assume they do work at a higher level, however.
Are you trying to say their hands come out of their heads, Spock?
I am not assuming they have hands, Doctor.
God damn it, Windows. Why can't you leave me alone? Oh, in any case. Nice distance work, Spock. Wish I could telepathically open doors like that. Okay, so we have a few more rooms to go through. I believe. So we've gone through these two. Let's go through this one next. Ah, a new room with lots of places to go.
Smooth rock and tight connections everywhere. A group of tubes and cube-like devices that seem to be processing something.
More interested in the floor design, but okay.
A huge vat full of pheromone and food-producing bacteria. An orb and disc configured device hangs from the ceiling. An orb and disc
thing.
Spock is quite pleased his emotional control hides the fact that he is considerably superior to the other two in every way. McCoy is getting tired of Spock's know-it-all attitudes, even as Spock does know everything. Captain Kirk feels angry at his crew for letting him down, and he's not sure why.
Alright, thoughts everyone?
Most impressive pieces of technology.
This room gives me the willies, Jim.
Bones, Spock, no arguing. I want to find out what's going on and find out now.
Alright, track order readings, Mr. Spock.
Fascinating. This device siphons material from the other unit by way of the pipe overhead. It possesses the ability to move a substantial amount of material. Most interesting is that the material can be jettisoned up out of these caves into the ecosystem of the planet. It may be that the material in the vat is dangerous, and the builders wished to protect this complex from contamination.
But they didn't care about the planet, did they?
Apparently not the primary concern.
Tell that to the Balcosi.
According to the studies from the Demeter, the Balcosi would not recognize speech.
I believe Bones was speaking figuratively, Spock.
There is presently no means by which to shut off this release. The unit is set to discharge, and the control switch has been removed.
Removed? Could it be the builders were not afraid the complex would be contaminated, but were instead Afraid the ecosystem would be in trouble if the contents of the vat were not discharged?
Interesting hypothesis, Captain. Difficult to do more than speculate at this time. Captain, this is the life support control unit.
Can't look. Let's look at this.
Readings indicate that these units are processing waste products into inert compounds.
Alright, McCoy, how about your tricorder readings?
Those tubes contain some nasty carcinogens, Jim. I wouldn't want to break any of them. A high-protein bacteria mixed with some sort of pheromone-style compound. I don't know what effects the pheromone would have on our physiology. I would need to take a sample back to the lab on the Enterprise to conduct a study.
Oh, is that just going to scan it again?
A discharge unit set to eject material siphoned through sealing pipes into the planet's ecosystem.
Okay, in that case...
I do not see the...
Mr. Spock, I want to use that door behind you. There we go. Let's move on. This looks like a medical bay.
Although the equipment is alien, nothing appears out of the ordinary in this medical examination room. Although the equipment is a medical examination station, it appears to be sized for Balcosi. In the back of the room sits medical diagnostic equipment. It appears idle. Spock muses whether or not the medical facilities here will keep McCoy busy. A medical examination station. McCoy feels bad about wondering if Mr. Spock's brain will come out easier the second time around. Kirk thinks a nap on the couch might do him some good.
That doesn't sound like Kirk.
You should feel almost at home, Doctor.
Finally, something I can deal with.
Feeling better, Bones?
Okay, we can't look or use that console. Let's scan this equipment.
Captain, given the nature of the electronics inside, I can deduce that it is a synthesizer replicator unit. However, it is unlike anything used by the Federation. I am unable to determine its exact capabilities.
Medical diagnostic and treatment unit set for alien physiology.
Alright, Mr. Spock, examine this equipment in more detail. Or not.
Captain, given the nature...
McCoy, what can you do?
Now this is more like it, a medical examination table. I'd know one of these even if it is made for an alien.
Alright, I guess there's not much to do here at the moment, so let's move on to what I believe is the last room.
It looks like a bunch of grapes.
Even with the doorway leading out, the air seems thick and the room feels confining. Even with the doorway leading...
Okay, we can't observe the floor.
A small brick of food, all the best of hospital, airline, and cafeteria food, was filtered out. This is what's left. The creature looks at you quizzically and gibbers for a moment. Looks like a Balcosian described by the data files from the Demeter.
McCoy, medical readings.
The Balcosian system shows heightened stress and metabolic activities.
Mr. Spock, tricorder readings.
Nothing unusual about that object, Captain. Internal structure hidden by force field effects. The uncovered areas consist of a pair of unknown vents and a solid inclined drop chute. Internal structure hidden...
Okay, I was hoping it would give us more information.
This device appears to be of the same manufacturer as the others in this complex.
Oh, I know what it's spraying.
No effect.
Oh, we can't pull it. Yeah, so he eats it. Then he gets
This
sprayed.
device.
Mr. Spock?
Captain, I do not notice any external controls. This appears to be a self-automated unit. We should be able to gain valuable data studying the Balcosi.
Well, maybe we'll see a Balcosian here.
They look peaceful enough, Jim.
That they do.
The cavernous structure narrows considerably, approximately 15 meters ahead, Captain. We would not be able to get past that point.
That passageway narrows as it goes up. I don't think we'd make it without getting stuck.
Alright. How about tricorder readings on the grapes, Mr. Spock?
Nothing unusual about that object.
Really?
Nothing.
McCoy?
I'm just a simple country doctor.
Okay. Well, in any case, Mr. Spock, why don't you,
Captain, I will attempt to restrain the Balcosian when he stops to eat.
Yeah. Let's nicely restrain him so that way we can study him and whatever effects that spray is having on him. So it looks like they're experimenting on him.
Captain, I will attempt to restrain the Balcosian.
I was waiting for the spray.
The nerve bundle seemed quite thick. My assumption is that the Balcosian is unharmed, but will remain unconscious for a considerable time.
Jim, I'd like to take him to the medical examination room next door. I want to know what that gas is doing to him.
Not a bad idea, Bones.
Oh, alright, McCoy, work your magic.
My God, look at these readings. Everything's elevated. Small wonder that the Balcosi are in turmoil. Every aggression-related hormone in this guy's body is working overtime.
What's causing it, Bones?
That little hiss of air was loaded with pheromones, Jim. The creature inhaled them and immediately went into overload.
This must happen at random intervals when they collect the food.
I hate to sound like Spock, but there's more, and it's pretty fascinating. Also horrifying. The pheromone is perfectly tuned to the Balcosian physiology. It's like somebody genetically engineered both.
Didn't the Demeter report say there weren't enough records showing the Balcosian presence on the planet? Could they have been put here on purpose?
It is possible we have stumbled in on an experiment, Captain.
With the subjects being treated like rats, it's criminal, Jim. These can be thinking beings.
I'm not certain it is the Balcosi that are the subjects, Bone. I think it is us.
Interesting hypothesis, Captain. What is your supporting data?
It's the way all of this is set up, Spock. I can't put my finger on it, but it just feels so set up. We keep finding out just enough to make choices. The real question is who? Who's doing this to us?
And to what purpose, Captain? Why?
Why indeed, Spock. Why indeed?
This seems pointless. This seems pointless.
Oh, I can't look at him?
This seems...
Okay. Do we get anything different with the medical tricorder?
No. It is with the...
It's why.
Let's see if it's having any effect on us.
Readings slight...
Why the devil is this thing giving me these readings? I don't think there's anything to worry about. The pheromones don't match our body chemistry enough to do more than make us a little hostile. But who could tell in Spock's case?
Okay, so that's why everyone's so agitated.
Readings...
Why the devil is this? I don't think there's anything to...
I think he's going to just use the same dialogue.
Reading...
I feel perfectly fine, but this idiot machine doesn't think so.
And you are having difficulty choosing which to believe, Doctor?
I know exactly which to believe, Spock. And I know what you meant, too.
Gentlemen, please. To think I brought you two instead of some of the other crew.
Rub it in, Jim.
Diagnostic display of the Balcosi's vital signs.
Can we interact with that at all?
I don't understand.
What? You're a doctor. You're supposed to
No, I
understand
don't.
Oh. In any case, I think we have our answer. So the Balcosi are being experimented on. Perhaps that large tank is what's doing it.
This thing is just full of that pheromone gem. We have to be careful. It could ruin the entire planet for the Balcosi. We would condemn them to a world filled with brutal violence. It would be genocide.
I believe Spock said there was a missing control.
This is a food-producing unit, Captain. There's a fast-growing bacteria inside. The bacteria is continually being harvested, and units of food are being produced and carried elsewhere by that large pipe. The small pipe next to it carries the byproducts.
That seems simple enough.
There's much more, Captain.
Well, I'm surprised.
Any breaks in any of the pipes will send a release signal to the discharge unit, as will interruption of power to the food-producing unit. Any tampering will send the bacteria into the atmosphere.
Interesting.
I do not think it will.
Okay, but we do know it was missing a control
This
unit.
cube contains
I don't think that's what I wanted.
essentially.
Okay.
No, I don't think.
I fail to see what.
No, I don't think.
I thought we could use this.
No, I don't think.
Get out of the way, Spock.
Assuming the appropriate signal is received, this unit can be shut down safely. The shutdown signal does not originate here.
Alright, now let's...
I do not see the logic.
I think now we have... So the only force field left is the one around what I presume is the power plant. So now I think it's time to mess with that computer. Mr. Spock, see what you can do.
This console is non-operational, Captain. However, I do believe the repair would be a simple matter given the right materials. There are essentially no controls or displays available at this time.
Well, we have a display. And it's touch sensitive, so that gives us controls too.
The computer is now functional. Fascinating. There's only a limited amount of control available on this console. I believe there are other functions it controls, but these functions cannot be accessed.
I'm not sure I understand, Spock.
Nor I, Captain. What purpose would be served by limiting access?
What purpose indeed? Bones, any ideas?
Why are you asking me? Is this some kind of pop quiz?
Two other things, Captain. There is a reference in the limited readout which leads me to believe there are other complexes on the planet somehow connected with this one. Location and function are not specified or available.
That's only one, Spock.
True, Captain. I was just waiting to see if you had any comments.
Not that I'd like to share at this moment, Mr. Spock, please.
There is one other repair that is possible. One device can be controlled from this console if its command circuit is replaced. I will not be able to determine what device that is until the replacement circuit is installed.
Alright, well, can we use it now?
There is nothing new that can be accomplished until the command circuit is repaired.
Alright, McCoy, can you get a different reading on what's in those pipes? Or are you going to give me the same dialogue?
There is an organic compound being...
What if there was a
So I think this is command circuit, so...
This cube
that contains a lot of
a
circuits.
bridge unit for use between function control.
I think we want this.
No, I don't.
Nope. I guess we want this.
I can shut down the force field protecting the generator. Do you wish me to do so?
No, let's look around a bit more first. Yes, we'll finally be able to take a better look at it. No, let's look around. Yes, we'll finally be able to take a better look at it.
May as well.
Captain, My attempt to turn off the force field has triggered some sort of computer activity. It is requesting that I allow some sort of display to occur on the screen. Shall I allow it?
I don't know if that's a good idea. Let's wait. By all means, Spock. Curiosity may kill cats, but I'm hoping humans will fare a little better.
That's comforting, Jim.
Alright. Let's see, we got some sort of pattern here. 12. Well, so I think this is a number of edges for 8. So we see there's 12 across, 12 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13. So the only pattern I see is across then. So in that case, if this is 12, this is 12, and 4, 8, 12.
It appears we have chosen correctly, Captain. The controls indicate that the force field has been dropped.
Alright, so power generator is here.
I think if I punch these enough, somebody will come and tell me what the devil's going on here.
Okay, let's use Mr. Spock here. And let's walk on through. Alright, now that the generator's there.
The energy generated from inside this unit is definitely causing the problems in communicating with the Enterprise. It will undoubtedly block any attempt at transporter lock-on also. Captain, this appears to be a mass storage device. The tricorder cannot tell what information it holds.
Interesting. I guess we should take a closer look, Mr. Spock.
Captain, there's a small display active. It appears that this device is a memory unit, an archive. Most amazing. The information is in volatile memory. If power were lost to this device, all information contained within would be lost. An odd way to create an archive.
What is in the archive?
The displays indicate it contains a vast amount of data on 3-dimensional projection. Circuitry diagrams, equipment construction techniques. Essentially, everything needed to project lifelike images in great detail inside of a structure. Starfleet does not have this level of technology. This would be a major find for the Federation.
Then I'd think that gathering that data would be a very good thing to do, Mr. Spock.
Very well, Captain. Captain, the display indicates that the best view of the projection will be from the south side of the room.
Well, gentlemen?
Anyone got popcorn?
Bones.
Must be using the sensor data from earlier.
Impressive, Spock.
Captain, I'm not responsible for that occurrence. However, I did discover that accessing the memory will not only trigger the shutdown of this unit, it will also send a signal to another device, most likely one somewhere in this complex. Damaging the unit will also initiate shutdown and signal transmission.
There's no way around it?
None, Captain.
What is this, some kind of idiotic test? Don't fool with that, Spock. You'll poison this planet and make these inhabitants permanently aggressive.
Doctor, you do not know for certain that whoever placed the Balcosi here did not intend for that to happen. The aggressiveness may be what they need to develop further. And the information in the archive is a reward for sending the Balcosi into the next stage of their development.
You just want to get your Vulcan fingers on that precious scientific information. More like 30 pieces of silver for condemning the Balcosi to the lives of violence. Jim, you can't let this unfeeling monster do this to the Balcosi.
Do you wish me to continue attempting to access the archive, Captain?
Yes, Spock. That information could be critical to the Federation. Let's hold off until we get a little more information. Yes, Spock. Let's hold off until we get a little more information.
Alright. Mr. Spock, can you examine the power pillar?
This generator may be providing power for more than just this complex. It is broadcasting power, which is causing the interference in communications with the Enterprise. I cannot tell for certain if there are receiving units for this power, because some of the readout circuits are damaged. Fascinating.
What is fascinating this time, Spock? I doubt it's fascinating to either Bones or myself, but I'm sure that won't stop you from telling us. What is fascinating this time, Spock? I doubt it's fascinating to either Bones or myself, but I'm sure that won't stop you from telling us. What is fascinating this time, Spock?
You tell him, Jim. I'm getting sick of this alien smarter than thou attitude.
Whoa, simmer down.
If either of you had an ounce of logic, you would be more prepared to listen to my information, and possibly even understand it.
Bordering on insubordination, aren't we, Mr. Spock?
I always knew that no emotion garbage was just a cover. He thinks he should be in charge.
Mr. Spock, I'll have those findings from you right now.
Captain, it appears the circuit was deliberately damaged. This would only be possible if the force field were down. Who would damage their own machinery? And for what purpose?
More and more curious, Mr. Spock.
Also, Captain, I am able to determine that if power is interrupted rather than shut down from this console, it will send a signal to that effect. The signal will trigger some other event. I do not know what the event will be.
Interesting. Well, can we make repairs, Mr. Spock?
This item will not affect the repair this unit needs.
Okay, so we need to put you in first.
The readout is now fully functional. There are other locations on this planet receiving power from this generator. Most peculiar, the locations of these units are not in the database.
And you think they should be?
It would be logical, Captain. But removing the circuit that controls the on and off functions of this device would also be illogical.
Are you trying to tell me that's what happened here?
Exactly, Captain. Until that repair is made, it would be impossible to execute a proper shutdown procedure. The repair is complete, Captain. It would now be possible to safely shut this machine down. However, doing so would certainly affect all the other equipment in this complex.
Alright, well, if we do a proper shutdown, I think that should help save the Balcozy, but we'll lose the archive data. If we access the archive, we basically force the Balcozy to live the purge. And then if we try to circumvent any of these, I think it just defaults to making the Balcozy live the purge. So I think we're going to have to let that technology go, Mr. Spock, and we're going to have to save the Balcozy per the Prime Directive. Mr. Spock, if you please.
Captain, do you wish me to start the shutdown sequence on the generator?
Let's hold off on that for now, Spock. Shut it down, Spock. Let's hold off on that for now. Shut it down, Spock.
Well, that ends that threat. Balcozy can rest peacefully tonight and from now on.
It is still a trying time in their development, Doctor.
Think of it as an adventure, Spock. Scotty, 3 to beam up.
Captain, the power source has completed its shutdown cycle. There is no trace of the bacteria or pheromone in the atmosphere. It would appear the Balcozy are free to choose their own future.
Good to hear, Spock. I know losing a find like that archive has to hurt.
That would be an emotional response.
Of course it would. How silly of me.
Captain, there are 2 signals being broadcast from the planet. The first is another burst following the same path as the original broadcast. The other signal emanates from nearby the first. It's aimed at us, Captain. Message from Starfleet, Captain.
On screen, Lieutenant.
Interesting report, Jim. I think you were right to release the Balcozy from outside influence. Too bad you couldn't retrieve the archive. No one at Starfleet has any idea who is behind all this, or what the testing message was all about. Keep us informed as you find out more. I've got confidence in you, Jim.
I've reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Well, that was a disconcerting message, but fortunately we saved Balcozy, so they are now free to choose their own future, although it does mean we lost the data archive, but I think we did everything right. Prime Directive's there for a reason, and it's not worth sacrificing a civilization for our own material gain. So that message at the end was certainly disconcerting, which makes me wonder if we're going to be seeing more of these unknown interlopers in the future, but until then, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time, and we'll see you then.